Okay, so I owe you guys an apology because I'm a big, stupid dumbass. Alrighty guys, thank you for joining me today. My name is Hunter Wilkins and this is Father and Forge. Alright, so when we left off last time, this is where we were at. So it's looking pretty good, but there's still a lot to do and there's a lot of things I want to try to touch up. And last time my solder on my guard broke, so the two pieces separated, which is actually okay. I'm actually kind of glad that that happened because that gave me an opportunity to clean up the ugly solder line that I didn't like, and it's going to make it easier, I think, for me to do the mechanical lock with pins. I'm actually going to drill through this piece all the way, basically drill partially through here and pin it, and so there'll actually be two pins sticking out, which will then match holes in the handle and it'll all pin together, giving a nice mechanical lock. Now, something else that I need to do, or that I want to do, is on this guard. It fits up pretty nice, but when it's against the handle, there's a little bit of a gap between the bottom of the ricasso area here and the guard. So I want to clean that up, and how I'm going to do that is with a what's called a press fit. So I'm actually going to do this cold because brass is soft enough to do this. This is a hardened blade, so I'm not worried about any damage to the blade. So I'm actually going to come up with some kind of way to hammer down onto this guard and press the steel into it slightly. So I might use the vise, I might use just my my bench, just stick it in there. We'll figure that out in a second, but that's what we're going to do. And once I get that done, we can maybe jump on to some more handle shaping. So I used my height gauge, my cheap little height gauge, marked out my center line on here because this was actually a little uneven. But that's okay because with my height gauge I was able to mark the center line and get it looking, or at least draw out how I kind of want it to look. So I'm happy with that now. But we still got a long way to go, and first things first is I want to figure out how I'm going to do this press fit, and I just want to get that done and out of the way, and then we'll move on. So I think first I'm going to try it in the vise and see how that works. I just put a little piece of microfiber cloth in here just to kind of cushion the blade so that when I crank this down this vise I don't scratch it. Should hold pretty well. I think that'll work. So I'm going to find something to put over this as kind of like a guide so that it hammers evenly on at least two of the four sides. If I can get all four sides, that'll be great, but I don't know if I have something to do that, so we'll see in a second. This socket might do the trick. It's almost perfect size. At least it's getting the top and the bottom evenly. Screw it. Let me give it a try. I'll tap it a couple times and see. I'm just kind of checking each time. So that is actually working. So I'm not done with that, but it's tightened up quite a bit. I think that's gonna work out. So that is it for today. Looks kind of weird without a guard, but I can't do anything to the handle today because I'm waiting on a belt order to come in. As soon as that belt order comes in, I'm gonna just get cranking on this thing, and hopefully I don't screw it up, because if I screw it up, I think I've only got one more block of ironwood, and that would be a huge setback if I had to start the handle all over again. We will see. Alright, so it's a new day, new phase on the project here. We're going to check this brass guard. I'm going to see how that turned out. I actually haven't looked at it in a few days. So we're going to look at that. Then we're gonna move into the handle, because I still have a lot to work to do on this. I'm gonna rip it down with some belts to closer to the final size, at least the final width. Then I'm gonna bed the tang. Once that's done, I'm gonna go ahead and drill my pinholes and get this thing ready for final fit up. And then of course I still gotta shape the handle and everything, but I want to get as close as possible to finish as I can now. So these f***ing planes, they ruin my video every time. Every time I'm on a roll talking and I know what I'm saying and I actually have plans and stuff, and the plane comes, ruins it all. Okay, so basically I'm really on a time crunch at this point. I'm not gonna stop and talk you through each step that I'm doing. I'll do later videos that maybe include some more instruction stuff on it. But basically, the only thing I'll go over right now is that I'm gonna bed the tang, and I'm gonna use some epoxy and basically fill this hole with epoxy. I'm gonna dip this tang in wax. I'm gonna tape off my brass guard. I'm gonna fit everything on here, and I'm actually gonna wrap some Teflon tape around the tang, shove it in, squish it down with a clamp. I got a big clamp. I'll clamp everything. Then I'll basically just kind of wipe up the excess spillage, and then once it starts to set, it doesn't have to be very long actually, I'll pull this back out and I'll have an epoxy sheath inside the handle here. And then when I go to put it back in, it'll be nice and tight, nice good fit, and won't have any worries when I do my final glue up, which will then secure everything together nicely, hopefully. But that's the plan, so we're just going for it. We got some new belts. Oh, I will show you. Let's do our, where did I put it? It's always a good day when I get my my red label abrasives. This isn't even sharp, you see that? When I get my red label abrasives mail call. They got some different things here. Oh, look. I got a coaster this time. I haven't got one of those yet. I've got some koozies, magnets, that kind of stuff. But thanks, Matt. You the man. I just got some assorted belts. I'm going to be using one of these 36 grits to get into this handle, because ironwood is tough stuff. So I'm definitely going to do that. I got some Trizac belts too. These are real fine. Basically for finishing steel and stuff, so I'm not going to use these on this because this is already pretty much done. But I wanted to pick up a couple of those because I used some other Trizacs that were not quite as fine, but I used some other Trizacs that I really enjoyed, and definitely going to be something that I use in the future. My beast belts, my 36s, so those are going to rip some shit up, some stuff up. Going to rip some stuff up. And I really am liking how that looks. Still got a lot to do. I'm probably going to finish it with hand shaping rather than on the grinder, because there's still some areas I need to touch up, but I really want to get in there with probably a file and some rough grit sandpaper first and kind of finish shaping this out by hand. And then the next step will be to glue up. So I'm going to call it quits for now. We'll come back another day and revisit. I'm hoping to get this done by the end of the week, and I think I can, now that I've gotten those steps completed. So pretty excited about that. Alright, it's a new day. I know you guys already saw, so we left off here, and I'm going to keep going. I have to touch up the shape of this handle just a little bit. Comes out a little bit too much on this side. It's just not completely symmetrical yet. Symmetry is not my strong point, but I need to make this as perfect as possible, so I'm going to spend some time trying to refine that. Then I'll move into the finalizing the pre-glue up finish, I guess. So that's the plan. I'm actually really happy with how this is coming out. I just need to, I'm kind of in a debate with myself right now, trying to decide whether to go ahead and glue up now or hand sand everything now. I don't know. I really feel like I should probably just glue it up. But I'm just kind of like on the fence. I don't know. Okay, I made up my mind. We're gonna go ahead and glue up because I'm pretty confident that I can finish everything else while it's glued up. So right now, all that's left to do is just let this thing sit. Basically, I gotta let it sit overnight. You know what? I'm gonna flip it up the other way so that the epoxy doesn't run down the blade, just in case. I mean, I'm gonna have to come out in about another 45, 30 minutes or so and check to see that, or give it another wipe with a rag with acetone, just to get any of the epoxy that is squished out off. That helps you get really clean glue ups. That's a tip that Gas Forge Works gave me on some of my other knives. On some of my full tang knives, what I was doing, I got my fronts really cleaned up, and then when I went to glue everything up, the glue squished out, and you know, I had wiped everything previously, but I didn't go back and do it again, and I got these really messy glue lines on a couple of knives. So that trick saves you a lot of trouble with that, and I'm very appreciative for that tip. But yeah, right now it's just a waiting game on this. And like I said, I'm going to come back and we'll wipe that up and get the glue lines clean, and then basically we'll jump back on it tomorrow, and hopefully maybe tomorrow I can finish up the hand sanding and everything. The handle shape I like. I don't want to modify it too much from what it is. I actually really like how it looks right now. So I really just want to get that hand sanded up to 3000. Fortunately, I think I'll be able to start it. For most of it, I'll be able to just go straight from 120 up. For some of it, I'm going to have to take a hand file out a couple little spots, and then I'll have to move up in progression and quite a bit more. But all in all, I don't think it's going to take me that long to do the hand sanding on that handle, which I'm pretty pleased about because hand sanding sucks. I think it's going to finish up really well, and then we'll buff it out, and we'll have a beautiful ironwood handle on this pretty awesome looking knife. I'm pretty excited about it. And this is my first Bowie, my first ever attempt at a Bowie, and first ever attempt at a brass guard. So I'm pretty stoked with how that's turning out so far. There's not a lot I can screw up at this point, but you know me. All right, we'll catch you later. Okay, so I owe you guys an apology because I'm a big stupid dumbass. So in my haste to complete that knife, I had a day where I wasn't even planning on working on it, but I had some other stuff going on, so I ran out here, I hand sanded it. I actually did a lot of removal and smoothing out with this round file and a smaller little flat needle file, which worked out fantastic. Any big lines that were in the handle, I was able to just kind of work them out with the file, then go over it with the sandpaper, rough sandpaper. I think go at 120 grit. 120 was the lowest I went, I think, when I was hand sanding. So I was able to actually get everything out nice and smooth. It worked really well. It worked way better than my last attempt at hand sanding ironwood. So I was really pleased with how that came out. But again, in my haste, I did not film any of that, and I did not film the finished knife before I put it and boxed it up and mailed it out, because I basically packed it and got it ready to ship the next day. So that being said, I do have pictures of it, so I'm gonna pop a few in, here and here, here and here, so at least you guys can see the knife in its completed form. And I do apologize that I didn't catch that on actual video. I just got way ahead of myself and I was on that time crunch, like I said, so I just busted it out and got it shipped, and that was that. So that being said, that's it for now. We'll do another one soon, hopefully when I have time. But that's it for this one. Hopefully the customer is happy upon receipt. So we'll maybe do some a follow-up about that or whatever, but that's it. So if you like this, please like and subscribe. Check me out on Instagram, check me out on Patreon. If you're not following me on Instagram, you are missing out, because I post a lot more stuff on there. It's easier, more time management friendly for me to be able to put stuff up there, so I can take pictures of stuff while I'm working on things, instead of trying to do a full-blown video, which I don't have a lot of time for at the moment, unfortunately, especially the editing. So I'm working on that. We'll see I might have a solution for that, so we'll see how that goes. But like I said, that's it. So just please like and subscribe, and I really appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.